half. He was much. If you look at the show, he was much bigger than his opponent, and it showed too. Much bigger and much stronger.
Yeah.
So, are we in?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and do the intro and let's get ready to roll and see where we are.
Yeah, no, we can rock and roll right now. Where do you want to start?
Man, let's talk about yesterday. College football. Again, another week, another few surprises. Cincinnati blew out Iowa State. I understand they were the favorites, but that game wasn't as close as the score indicated. The score was 38-30 Cincinnati, but Iowa State in the fourth quarter had a furious rally. They were down, I think, 16 points. They were just manhandled throughout the game. Cincinnati seemed like they were a little bit faster throughout the game. They were a little bit more intense, and it showed. It showed throughout the game. That was a full-fledged beatdown that Cincinnati gave Iowa State. And we talked about Iowa State as a team that we looked at in the Big 12, in the Big 12 as a team that would maybe be the champs. We talked about that thing about 3 weeks ago. That was a tough hit for them. But it's one game. And as we talked about, every week takes on its own identity, right? Cincinnati was hot and ready to roll. So, you gotta give them credit for what they did, for sure. Then skipping over to Texas and Florida manhandled Texas the whole game as well. That game was, the score is 29-21, but if anybody looked at that game, you saw that from the start, Florida was faster. Texas looked lost. Again, they look conservative in their play calling, or not sure, or maybe they're not conservative. Maybe Sark is only giving Manning what he can handle.
Yeah,
that's something to ponder as well. This is 3 games in a row where he hasn't looked good against high-end talent, right? High-end talent.
This was their first SEC game too.
Yeah. He looked pedestrian against Ohio State. He didn't look very good in week 3. I figure they played in week 3. So I don't know. Maybe the name on the back has a lot of people being biased with him and also against him, but he hasn't looked the part in his first year of a starting quarterback. I think there was a document that says something along the lines of he's had 5 wins as a starter, and none of them were Power 4 schools. So yeah, that's tough, man. That's a tough gift for him.
No, I was also gonna say, and I said it. I think I said it to you yesterday as a Quinn Ewers supporter. I had people telling me last year, they need to start Arch. They need to play Arch. Arch looks so good in the games he subbed in for Quinn, and I'm like, I don't think that's the right decision. But if you want to think that, okay. So I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, Arch has a higher ceiling, and it's his first year as a full-time starter. He will more than likely get better and be better, and probably end up winning a national title. I'm not doubting that at all. He's a sophomore?
I don't need the rest of sophomore, but I don't know, man. I haven't seen anything to indicate that he's going to be electric, right? And I'm not talking about running electric. I'm talking about a combination of making the decision making. Yesterday, multiple bad decisions, bad interceptions. I don't know. It just seems like the game may be a little too fast for him right now, but it seems like it shouldn't be because he had a couple starts last year. This is his 3rd year in the program. This isn't his first year in the program. Mind you, he's a redshirt sophomore. And I don't see anywhere where he said, well, this is definitely the making of a Heisman Trophy winning national championship quarterback. And I'm the one who said in the beginning of the season that I felt Texas had the most talent in the country, and usually the quarterback on the most talented winning team has the Heisman consideration. But those things are way in the rearview mirror, and I was absolutely wrong when it comes to Manning and the opportunity for him to win the Heisman Trophy. Hell, but the way it looks, with the way Texas played yesterday, I don't see them in the SEC title game the way they played yesterday. Now, that was game one of the SEC conference play, so they've got an opportunity to right the ship. But they better do something. They look really simple. They don't look explosive, and they don't look like they're very creative. And Sark is known for his creativity. I don't see it.
They have no time to rest. They play Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So their season could potentially be over in a matter of the next couple weeks. They play Oklahoma. That could be a loss. They play Kentucky in Kentucky. That could be a loss if they continue to play how they are.
Kentucky is definitely over. It's over at that
I know,
point.
yeah. And then they got to go to Mississippi State. And we've talked about Mississippi State on this podcast.
Yeah.
And
they play better. They play much better at home, man. They play really well at home. Yeah. The laughing stock of the day. Penn State losing to UCLA.
Oh my goodness. That's worse than Texas, honestly. That's probably worse than Texas. You drop the ball after they don't have a coach, they don't have a head coach, and they don't have a D coordinator. That's horrible. And
the only excuse you could give Penn State is you're a far East Coast team going to the far West and having an early game. I don't know how much that plays into it, because I'll guarantee you some of those kids from Penn State are from the West Coast.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man, but they got it handed to them. And again, it was 42-37. I didn't see but the last quarter, but my take is I saw the score, I saw the ticker on the score. They were behind from the start, man. I think it was 17-7 out the gate.
I was keeping up with the scores because I was broadcasting yesterday, and I saw it was 10-3. That was the earliest I saw the game, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like 10-3. I'm like, okay. And then I looked back up again. I think it was like 28 to something, and I'm like, oh my gosh, are they gonna lose? So for them to lose, I mean, their season's potentially over. When you look at it, IU is sitting in a really good spot, but you got to beat Penn State now.
They're only sitting at a good spot if they beat Penn State. And also the other part is, if you give, again, I think we've on this show said we don't believe that Indiana would beat Oregon. Mm-hmm. But with that said, at least show up.
Yeah,
at least show up and show them that you're men on that side, right? I don't think most people expect Indiana to go out to Oregon and win, but if you can have a good showing and show that, hey, listen, we're here to stay, then you turn around and beat Penn State, then you got people talking.
They both had a bye week, so it's not like one team has some tread on the tires while the other one, is sitting at home. So I think it'll be an even playing field. They will be in Oregon, which is going to be tough. Big game for Signetti, though.
Is that a noon game?
I don't have that schedule pulled up.
No, it's a 3:30 game. So Indiana can't say, well, we got, we went out west and we, like a morning start. 3:30 start for Indiana is a 12:30 start. So they're in the Big 18. So that's kind of when they've been, most of those games are anyway around that noon start, the noon time as well. So no excuse from a time perspective. And again, you had a bye week. So you've had a week to kind of get your minds right, get in your hyperbaric chambers or whatever you got to do.
Yep. The other team I want to talk about is Miami. Like, are you bought into Miami at this point? Like, are they real deal championship contenders?
Total domination yesterday. Yeah. I had that up on my second screen yesterday, from start to finish. Yes, it's a rivalry game. It's the Florida State championship and all of that. Florida State came to play as well, but it just looked like Miami just better. Miami was faster. They were quicker to the ball, and the guy I've kind of given a whole bunch of business to, their quarterback. Unfortunately, another good game for Carson Beck. 20 for 27, 241, and 4 touchdowns. I've been a big naysayer for Carson Beck because of the way, how he played in Georgia. But he has come to Miami, 74% throwing yesterday, 4 TDs, no interceptions, ball on time. He carved him up, man. He carved him up yesterday. That game also wasn't as close as the score indicates. There's a lot of late rally stuff yesterday that made, that kind of gave you an impression that either A, it was a blowout or B, it was a very close game. Florida State scored 19 points in the fourth quarter. To give you an example.
Yeah.
They had 3 points through 3 quarters.
But they had
3 points through 3 quarters. And clearly Miami took their foot off the gas in the fourth quarter. They took their foot off the gas a little bit in the fourth quarter.
It feels like they're legit, but a part of me is also like, man, they're an ACC team, so I'm like, I don't know.
Well, we'll say this. They didn't run the ball well yesterday. But if you, man, I'm not going to sit there and say I'm a believer in them in the national title hunt.
No,
if they keep playing like this and smacking people around, all you gotta do is just win one game in front of you. You can't play 2 games at a time.
It's crazy. We talked about Kalen DeBoer, his job, everything else. They may be the best SEC team right now.
Again, week over week, man.
That's the joy. That's the joy of having a podcast, though, because we overreacted. We overreacted so bad.
I agree.
I did. Me and Ramon
that's
did.
The thing. You two were like, he's got to go. You even talk about the fake heart attack guy. What's his
I don't know.
Their previous coach from Florida and Ohio State.
Urban Meyer.
Yeah, the fake heart attack guy. All right, Urban Meyer, come to Alabama. Are you serious? Again, let it play out, right? Let it play out.
Yeah.
And what we've seen so far is that Florida State butt whooping they took in week 1 is still resonating with them. It's still resonating with them because you see it on the field how they're going at things. They're very aggressive in their play calling. They are very conservative in week 1 against Florida State. Yeah, I know it was raining and it was bad field, and Ty was his first start of his career. All those things, but they looked scared.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, even in the Georgia game, the game plan has opened up. So many different formations, so many guys touching the ball. They play 6 or 7 receivers, probably 50% of the snaps of the game. That's never been done under a Nick Saban team, right? Guys are fresh, running those deep routes, those deep overs. They're fresh. Get off the field. Let your guy in, right? The thing about yesterday with Bama, Vanderbilt hit him in the mouth, right down the field, hit him in the mouth. Then Bama came back and scored, and it was back and forth in the first half. But in the second half, Bama threw a shutout. They just wore on them. They just wore on them. And that quarterback for Vanderbilt, listen, I get, there's a lot, you talk, you won last year. That's all fine and dandy. But he was very disrespectful on the field prior to the game. He was practicing the victory formation prior to the game. He was grabbing his junk and sticking his middle finger up to the fans. Oh, all of that, right? And then there's a video when they're coming off the field at the end of the game. There's a fan. He probably had too many Bud Lights in him, and he was talking crazy. And then one of the coaches for Vanderbilt said, "Watch your mouth. These are kids. Watch your mouth. These are kids." Man, that dude Diego Pavia is like 27 years old, man.
Yeah.
And he's cussing. He said twice, "I do what the F I want to do," to the fan as he's coming off the field. He's not a kid. When these young men start getting paid, that amateurism out the window, right? So you're going to be subjected to taunting by fans. Not making it personal. Don't make it personal, but saying, "Hey, you talked a lot and you didn't back it up," is a fair statement, because he said, "I look forward to going to Bryant-Denny. It's going to be fun." Mm-hmm. Well, ask him how much fun did he have? Because based off of how his play was, he didn't have a lot of fun.
It was a tough game, but and Vanderbilt, credit to them, they're not the doormat of the SEC no more. So I mean, they held it close, but I mean, they like you said, second half, Bama got going and they won the game as they should have. We're a couple weeks into the season. And this is about the point where you said, we're starting to see who the real contenders are and stuff like that. So I want to hear directly from you. Who are your contenders now? As we're a couple weeks into this, you told me and Ramon both. Me and Ramon definitely we like to jump the gun, talk about it early, stuff like that. We've got a couple weeks in.
And it's still a little early, but
yeah, I know. But Texas played an SEC team. Everyone's played in the conference at least once now. So how are you feeling after this week?
I feel good about Bama as they continue to grow, right?
Yeah.
But what no one's talking about is Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Texas A&M has just gone in and just played. They got strong defense. They got a capable offense. They're 5-0 and number 6 in the country. So my top team is still Ohio State. I think Ohio State is 1. I think until otherwise notified, Oregon is 2. Yeah. I absolutely believe that. And then you've got a muck, right? You've got Bama, you've got A&M, you got Ole Miss, you got Miami. A lot of people are sleeping on Georgia Tech, still not giving them a lot of love. I still like Georgia Tech. Also, you got Oklahoma, and again, it's not being an SEC bias. We're just talking about teams. You're talking Ole Miss, A&M, Alabama, Missouri, Oklahoma, Georgia, and LSU still only has 1 loss, and Vandy has 1 loss, and Tennessee has 1 loss, right?
Yeah.
So there's still going to be some stuff shaking up in the SEC, but in my order as it stands right now, I say Texas A&M is the best in the SEC right now.
Really?
A&M, absolutely. I say because they also, you know why? They played the tougher schedules. Mm-hmm. They went on the road and beat Notre Dame. They beat Mississippi State this past week.
That quarterback's really good too.
Yeah, he is really good. Then also don't forget, they beat Auburn. They beat Auburn in a tough game. Auburn's a tough team, physical team. So I say right now, I'm going to go with A&M as the best team in the SEC right now because they don't have a blemish, and they went on the road in a hostile environment, and they took care of business. Yes, it's Notre Dame, and we think that Notre Dame hasn't played the type of competition, but they got really, really good players. Yeah. And that has to account for something, right? It has to. So for me, I take those. I think I gave you 5. I think I said Oregon, Ohio State, A&M. You're talking about Ole Miss, Bama. Then you're talking about Oklahoma. Then on the ACC, you're talking about Miami, and still Georgia Tech is laying in the weeds. I think. Yeah. And don't forget what Virginia's done either. They played well yesterday too.
And then
they beat Louisville in Louisville.
There was 2 teams you also forgot was IU and Texas Tech. Those are the other 2 that are they're not. I wouldn't say they're national.
That's all I thought.
They're there. They're in the mix.
We want to talk tiers. That next tier, right?
They're at the top.
But Texas Tech, man, they get another big win under their belt. They might be in that upper tier as well. Yeah, I'll look forward for the rankings to come out and see how things are shaking up. I did look 3 weeks ago. If you look at 3 weeks ago to now, man, upside down. And I promise you, 3 weeks from now is going to be upside down because these games and the talent pool is so close, man. Yeah, it's so spread out. You don't have 105 scholarship anymore. You can just stack guys on your bench anymore. Guys want to play.
Yeah,
and you're seeing it. You're seeing a lot of that too. So yeah, I love this time of year, man. For college football, it's great. Ohio State's a clear 1, but after that, I think everybody any week can get thumped.
I don't disagree with you. We can stay on college football or we can go back. I want to go to
NFL. Bounce around, man.
I want to go to NFL real quick because I have made an AFC tier list to counteract the NFC one. But just as a reminder, on my NFC tier list, I call it Zay's Ways tier list. That's my name of the tier list. And then I also have a top 5. I'll update the top 5 along with 2 honorable mentions every week. Since it is Sunday, this is talking about last week. In tier 1 in the NFC, I've got the Eagles, Buccaneers, Packers, and Lions, which is tier 1, which is Super Bowl contender. Tier 2, I have playoff teams, which is Commanders, Falcons, and Rams. Tier 3, I have changed the name of tier 3 to wild card with a question mark. So it's like, maybe.
We get creative here.
So tier 3, I have the Cowboys, the Cardinals, the Seahawks, and the Niners. I really want to move the Seahawks up to playoff team tier. We will see how that goes next week. They won on Thursday Night Football. Tier 4, I have the Vikings and the Bears. I don't think I need to explain myself there. That's just an I don't know tier. It's a question mark tier. Tier 5 is long way to go. That is Panthers, Giants, and Saints. So that is the refresher on the NFC. I don't think that's a bad tier list. I think it's pretty.
You don't have the Giants in that bottom one either, but you got them a tick up.
No, the Giants are there. No, Giants are tier 5. Yeah, they're a long way to go. All right, AFC. I'm going to start from the bottom and go up. Okay, I'm going to go from the bottom.
I'm ready.
Tier 5 is long way to go. I have the Dolphins, the Browns, and the Titans. Any argument?
Maybe the Jets. They're 0-4.
Here's tier 4, which is I don't know. There's a hefty amount of teams in here. There's a hefty amount because I really don't know what to think. I have the Texans. I have the Raiders. I have the Broncos. I do have the Jets in tier 4, which is I don't know. And then I have the Ravens at the very top. The Jets and I don't know. And I say this because, and I said it when they were 0-3. Every game they lost, I don't think they've necessarily looked bad. They've played tough. They just have not won. That's really all my reasoning is. So I don't think they've been as bad as the Dolphins, Browns, and Titans. So I'm giving them a leg up. I'm being nice, even though they did lose to Miami on Monday Night Football. They've played good. They've looked good. They just have not been able to win. So that's why I have them in I don't know. But once again, it's Ravens, Jets, Broncos, Raiders, and Texans, and I don't know.
Well, let me get you in your I don't know. The Jets have allowed 120 points through 4 games. There's only one team that's allowed more than that, and that's the Ravens. If the Jets to your point, if the Jets fix that defense,
they would be way better.
They get if they get two stops a game, two stops a game in those 4 games, 2 stops per game, you may be looking at 2-2, maybe even 3-1.
Yeah. That's why I got them there, because I'm like, there's so many games that could have flipped their way, and it just didn't go their way. So it's kind of why I got them there. Anything else in tier 4?
No, I think the worst. We went back, so I think the worst team in the AFC is the Titans. Yeah. I got a feeling the Titans. They may try to take over Detroit with that 0-0, so this 17 games. So no one's been 0-17 ever. Yeah. The Titans have a chance to be 0-17 this year.
Man, I think they can get a win, but we will see. I think the Browns have been just as bad, but I don't know.
They may have found their quarterback though. Dylan Gabriel looks pretty good in the first. He didn't look like a superstar, but the guy again, he's 26 years old also.
Okay. In tier 3, which is a name change, I have it wild card question marks, like wild card, maybe. I've got the Patriots and I've got the Bengals. That's it. That's all I've got in wild card with a question mark.
Okay, I'm gonna let you go. You think I got questions?
Yeah, the Patriots and the Bengals I've gotten wild card because it's like Patriots have, like I've said, I've given them a lot of credit. They've looked tough. They're playing tough. They've got a big game tonight on Sunday Night Football. So let's see how they play tonight against Buffalo. Not expecting them to win. Just want to see. Let's see how close they can keep it. The Bengals really probably should have put them in I don't know tier, but we'll see if they can hold on. For now, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I have them in wild card. We will see. Playoff teams, tier 2. I've got the Jags, I've got the Colts, I've got the Steelers, I've got the Chiefs, and I've got the Chargers at the top of tier number 2.
Okay.
Steelers, I was going to put in wild card, but how can I say that with a 3-1 record right now? All these teams, and the Chiefs are 2-2. I get that, but it's still the Chiefs. So I felt like it would have been a little disrespectful to say wild card. So I've got them up there with the Chargers. And then in tier 1, only team I've got in the AFC is the Bills. Chargers.
I think currently they're head and shoulders in the AFC right now.
With the Chargers dropping that game to the Giants, it dropped them out of there for me. So I had to, so right now I think it's the Bills at the top of the playoff seeding. Now, if I'm being honest with myself, that feels a little fraudulent because every time the Bills have gotten to the playoffs, they run into Kansas City and they can't seem to beat them. So a part of me feels like I need to just keep the Chiefs up there all season because they'll figure out a way to get there.
Until somebody knock them off, right?
So it's like yes, the Bills have looked good throughout the regular season, and this is a regular season, like regularly updated tier list. So that's why they are there for right now, and the Chiefs aren't. But a part of me does kind of feel like okay, you're the class of the AFC, but when I get to the playoffs, I kind of know what I'm going to get from you guys at this point. So, but they look good. I can't disagree. Josh Allen is the best quarterback in football right now.
Yeah, good call, man. Offense and defense, they're playing real well. Their young receivers are playing well. Also, growing into their own. Think about this: 3 years ago, when Diggs left, what's going to happen? What's going to happen with Buffalo's offense? Nothing. We're going to hand the ball off to the young man, the running back, and then let things figure out from there. And that's what's happened. So I would agree with that. I mean, I'm okay with what you've got here on the rankings there. Bills are a class, but if the Jaguars go in this weekend and win, I would say you need to put them up there in there with the Bills.
Who do they play?
The Chiefs.
Oh yeah, Monday Night Football.
Yeah,
You're right. So, you're right.
Yeah. If it's a big word, right? But I bet you there's a lot of people banking on them winning.
We had a heavy talk about Trevor Lawrence this offseason, and it's put up or shut up.
The last we really had a good conversation about him was when he was in Clemson.
He had a good. I mean, there was 1 or 2 seasons in the NFL where they got to the playoffs. I think it was the first year under Doug, where they got there, and it was like that was a pretty good season for him. But yeah, it's been a minute since there's been good things to say about that organization and Trevor Lawrence as a whole. So it is good to see. If you're a Trevor Lawrence fan, I'm happy to see it, because to be in Jacksonville, it can be tough because that organization's so up and down. So I'm happy for him nonetheless. But I just wanted to get that out there. I made an AFC one last night. I was sitting there thinking about it. I was like, you know what? I probably should make one. And I like the tier 3 change to wild card question mark.
You may have to do a Word doc and post it for the viewers, man.
Yeah, I have it in
Kind of sit with that. I like it. I like it because again, things change every week, man. No one here thought that Jaguars would be 3-1 with a real chance to thump Kansas City on Monday night.
Yeah.
No one thought that.
And
I'm sure their players will say, yeah, we believe. Yeah, every year y'all believed in what happened, right?
Yeah. My top 5, and this will change weekly as well, and then 2 honorable mentions. I've got the Bills at 1, the Eagles at 2, Lions at 3, Buccaneers at 4 because they kept it. They almost made that comeback, so props to them. And then the Packers at 5. I know they went to a draw and stuff like that. I still find them as Super Bowl contenders to this point. So I've got them hinging on 5 because it would have been the Chargers if they wouldn't have lost to New York. In honorable mention, I've got the Chargers, so that's basically them at 6, and then I've got the Jags at 7 right now.
Wow. Did you hear what you just did? For the top 5 teams in the NFC.
Yeah,
I remember
they're all my Super Bowl
5
teams.
Weeks ago.
Yeah,
it was Philly and whoever.
Philly and everybody else. Yeah, that's how I was feeling. And honestly,
we gotta own it. We don't know the future.
Oh yeah,
we don't know the future, but it's good. It's good dialogue though, right?
A part of me still feels like that now that we're a couple weeks in, especially after they just beat Tampa Bay. I'm kind of like, all right, feels like Philly, and then maybe Detroit's right behind them.
I would love to see a Philadelphia Eagle Detroit Lion NFC title game.
Yeah,
in a controlled environment, not in the snow. Not with I want both teams at their best, right? I would love to see that in a controlled environment. Yeah. Now that would be something to see because I think if it's snow, rain, if it's in Philly has a huge edge.
Yeah.
I think if it's in Detroit, I think it's a more even match. But you're talking about Detroit fans and you're at home, and those things have a way of shaking out.
Now, one last thing, because I saw it. Jaden Daniels is wearing a brace today. I don't like that.
What did I say?
Like that.
If I'm playing against him, I want him playing at less. Remember I said, is he 100%? You said, well, he's off the report.
It said he was active, but man, don't do this.
I would. But here's the other thing with them. Look where they are.
That's true.
They're in a position where they're like, listen, we're 2-2, and if we lose and Cowboys win, we're in 3rd place and we're out of the playoff picture right now.
Yeah.
I mean, so.
And with the way the Giants looked last week, Jackson Dart may take a game off you later on down the line.
It must have been something they saw off the backup for the Commanders. Said, you know what? Yeah, he's a good backup, but we need our guy in. You know, and if he's got a brace on, to me, it seems like there's some concern still about his health, right?
Yeah.
But they need the game. They
got to win it.
They need this game, man. And Chargers are no joke. And this is way out west.
Yeah. It'll be a good game. It'll be a good game. Thoughts on Sunday night? Bills and Patriots. It's in Buffalo.
Patriots got tough defense. The Bills will be tested, but I think the Bills in like a 23-16, 24-14, something like that in that range. I don't know about such a high scoring game. I would probably take the under on this game, but you know, I think the Patriots are going to give them a test on the defensive side. Offensively, I think they struggle a little bit still. But you know, I say Buffalo wins in the end. You know, 7 points. You know, something like that. You know, 23-17, 23-16. You know, something in that neighborhood.
It's I mean, this is a really fun schedule this week. And I said I thought the NFL slate was better than the college slate. Obviously, college said hold my beer. I'm gonna give you a couple upsets, but Seahawks Buccaneers, big chance for the Seahawks here to go up in my tier list. Cowboys and Jets. I think this is a winnable game for the Jets. It's in New York. Broncos, Eagles. Eagles should win that one, right? You got Giants and Saints. Big chance for the Saints to maybe get a win today. We'll see what happens there.
The Saints, they may be the other team that may not get a win.
Yeah, I know. This is their only shot right now. Texans and Ravens. Big game here. Somebody's going 1-4, and you could basically kill their playoff hopes. And then
who'd have thunk it? Who'd have thunk it?
I know. Dolphins, Panthers, too. That's another game where it's like, okay, Bryce Young, Alabama quarterback. Darrell's in heaven today watching that one.
Nah, I'm gonna be in heaven watching that. I've got zero fantasy implications on that game. Chuba Hubbard is out. The Cheetah's all gone for the season. I've got no fantasy implications in that game whatsoever. The game I'm really interested in, I got a lot of implication is that Broncos-Eagles game. And quiet as this kept, that Jets-Cowboys game.
I need the Eagles to put up 40, and I need A.J. Brown to actually get the ball.
What do you think? Speaking of A.J. Brown, what do you think about all this? You know, cryptic messages and him talking about he wants to be respected as a player. What's your take on a guy like that on an undefeated team that's coming off of a Super Bowl title? Mad.
I get the frustration because it's like, you know, if you're a top receiver and you're not getting the ball, and it's been 5 weeks, I get it to a point. If you're mad, I mean, I'm sure there's been a conversation between him and Hurts. If you guys are Super Bowl champions and the star receiver can't come tell the star quarterback, hey, can you try to find me more? That's an issue that will affect the team come playoff time. So it's either an AJ Brown problem or it's a team problem. And AJ Brown has never been a drama. I mean, we talked about the wide receiver position being a diva position. AJ Brown's never been that type of guy. He's always been
over the last couple of years. Dude. He has. Over the last couple of years,
that's true.
And here's what troubles me. That's when you've been winning.
Yeah.
That's when you've been winning. And what happens is, from a public perspective, they look at this and says, man, what a malcontent this guy is. It's about winning. They're winning. He's not happy. He's got the big contract, so it's not contractual, right? You know, I saw a clip of Chad Johnson saying the Eagles are treating him wrong. He's like 100% right in voicing how he feels out loud. I guess I've just come from a different cut from a different cloth, right? Because I don't understand how you can make such a public statement about not getting the ball when you're winning, you've got a contract, and you're the lead dog on the team, right? And your running mate on the other side is a national champion, Heisman Trophy winner, hell of a player. You haven't heard one word out of him. I think there's a big difference, man. I don't think he's as good as he's wants people to think he. I think he's a very good player. He's their best receiver.
Yeah.
He's their best receiver.
He's a top 10 receiver. He's not top 5.
But I mean, I don't understand. If you got a problem, just do it in silence, man. Because
top 5 receiver.
Because when he in his first year, I think he was second in the league in receiver drops. What if the quarterback would have said out loud, "I just need my receiver to catch the ball. I'm really tired of that." You know, you give it, you take it, right?
They can give, yeah.
You know, if you're going to give something, you got to be willing to take it. And he's always been a guy who's had drops. So I don't remember any of his quarterbacks or his running mates saying, "Man, I wish my partner would catch the ball."
Yeah,
that's what. And it goes not just football; it's in life. You talk about something, and then it turns out it happens to you. Then everybody mad. You brought it up. So I wouldn't be surprised if today's game he goes 9 for 140 and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, Hurt's gonna feed him the ball. He's gonna take it, find it. He's gonna find AJ Brown today. We will see about that. Just I wanted to get in a little bit of NFL. I was like, there's no point in neglecting it just because it's Sunday. We still got about an hour until the main games kick off. Browns are actually beating Minnesota right now. So they're up 17-14 in the third quarter.
Dylan Gabriel. The Dylan Gabriel experience is here. Is he going to relinquish that job ever? What do you think?
I do think Shedeur plays once this season.
You think?
Yeah.
Are you thinking injury, or are you thinking poor play?
I'm thinking Gabriel has a bad game at some point, and they're like, "All right, here you go, Shedeur. Here's your chance."
I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna have to be really bad.
Oh yeah, I agree. I think there will be a scenario where Dylan Gabriel does play very bad. I mean,
the owner came out and said, "Hey, if I'd have known, I wouldn't have wanted, Sanders, right?" And everything has come out and said, when they interviewed the coach, he says, something about, they asked him about something about Shedeur. He says, Dylan's our starting quarterback. Probably tired of the circus as well, right? So if Sanders is in that game, I think Dylan Gabriel would have to be hurt to come in and play. I don't think he, as a rookie, and based off of what they did last year and then coming into this season, I don't think there's anything that can happen for him to be benched. Maybe 4 interceptions and a fumble or something crazy like that, but I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
It's gonna be tough for him to get in the game, man. It just is. I just don't think he was set up for success. He, meaning Sanders, set up for success with an open mind over there. But I mean, you can't. You can trade him, but you won't get anything for him. No. You're not gonna get much for a third string, 5th round quarterback who comes with people saying please start him. That's why they interview a third string quarterback, during the week. No other third string quarterback is ever being interviewed. So, you welcome to the circus.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'd like to talk to Riley Leonard, Anyways, who
third string quarterback for the Colts, everybody. That's just so everybody knows. Third string quarterback for the Colts. Just
if you're putting down a 3-leg parlay today, who are you betting on?
Are we talking NFL, right? So
yeah. Who would you put? Who would you bet on? I think for me, right? I would just, if you're trying to win like some actual money, not win like. So I would say like I would bet Seahawks over Buccaneers. It's in Seattle, right? I think there's a chance. They're even favored a little bit. Okay. I would also say Chargers are favored against the Commanders. I mean, I could maybe pick the Commanders to beat the Chargers, but I'd probably lean more Chargers. And then who else?
Upset game. I say the Jets are at home. The Cowboys are going to fill the stadium in New York with their fans.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who's the favorite in this game.
Dallas.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
they're 4-point favorite.
I gotta look.
I would pick the Jets. because you always want to get that upset, right? In this case, I would probably pick the Jets. Why? Because I think they've got a good offense, right? And they're at home.
Mm-hmm.
Not because home from a crowd perspective. I think they know that lay of the land. I just think
Cowboys are favored by one, they're favored by 1.5.
I thought it was, man. I think it started at 4 earlier in the week.
I would probably bet the Jets to cover.
Yeah.
Instead of picking an outright winner, I'd probably pick the Jets to cover. I'd pick the Jets to cover, the Seahawks money line, and then I'd probably pick another money line. I just don't know.
Well,
maybe
if you go money line, I would go Eagles against the Broncos then. If you want,
to make the third leg easy. Yeah. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, I think I would.
Maybe the Bills and the Patriots as well.
Yeah, I'd probably pick Seahawks, and then the one I'd probably hope for an upset on is Seahawks and Buccaneers money line wise.
I will look for the weather in Seattle. If it's raining, if it's kind of dreary a little bit,
I think Tampa could still be fine because they're in Florida.
No, I thought they're in Seattle.
Well, I'm just saying, like, they're from the Buccaneers play in Tampa, so they're used to the rain, you know.
Yeah, but in Tampa,
that Seattle rain can be different. That's Seattle.
It may rain the whole game in Seattle. It won't rain the whole game in Tampa. It'll rain. It'll stop. It'll rain. It'll stop.
Yeah, when I went to Florida, that happened when we were leaving for the cruise.
That's it.
For like 2 seconds, and then
you think it's going to be some crazy torrential downpour. It gives you 20 minutes, and an hour later, the sun is shining, and the big old whatever those flying birds over water are flying around.
And then it's muggy.
So yeah, I would say something like that. But what about Jaguars and Chiefs? Would you money line Jaguars? That'd be a nice lift. I bet that the Chiefs probably favor.
I'd probably bet them to cover. Because it's in Jacksonville. It's in Jacksonville. Bro.
Nothing like an outright winner on the Monday night game to finish off a parlay, though.
Man, then I got to sit there for 24 hours and be nervous that Jacksonville's going to beat. No, I'm not doing that. I'll do it by itself maybe, but man, I ain't doing that.
Exactly right.
Because I would
that's good. I can see that. It's gonna be a good week, and we didn't talk at all about the Colts and Raiders today.
But I think that means we know they need to go in and handle business.
What are they gonna do in the defensive backfield, man? With they meaning the Colts, all those injuries. Then they had
Smith gonna throw the ball downfield. They're receiving warriors. They're receiving Xavier Howard. Yeah, I saw that.
He quit.
If Puka Nacua did that to me too, I would quit as well.
He quit.
If Puka Nacua hit me with one of these, I'd quit too. I'm not gonna lie, I'd quit too.
Yeah, he quit mid game, man. He did a Antonio Brown, man.
He said, "I'll see y'all later." I'd quit too if I was him, because if somebody hit me with one of these,
that was a tough
one. Too.
That's a tough one. We hit a little bit of football. Let's pivot over to MLB, right? Just a little bit. I know that's not your love, but yesterday was tough, man. Brewers beat the Cubs. I know there's a lot of Cub fans out there, 9-3. Blue Jays dusted my Yankees, 10-1. Dodgers over the Phillies in a tough game, and the Tigers beat the Mariners in a tough game. Like I said last week, man, Toronto has had the Yankees number all year. I don't anticipate the Yankees winning this series in any way, shape, or form. They've got better pitching, and they got timely hitting, and they blew them out yesterday. I'm not saying it's a sweep, but it just seemed like the Blue Jays have the Yankees number. I would have thought the Cubs would have put up more of a fight yesterday against the Brewers, but maybe all those young players they got kind of hit a little bit of a wall, 9-3.
Mm-hmm.
Dodgers are the class, man. Dodgers are the class of baseball right now. They've got the highest payroll and they got the best talent. I just think their talent is going to overcome Phillies, and then in the next series, if in fact whomever they would play, I just believe it'll probably be the Brewers. I see the Dodgers just manhandling them as well. Dodgers are tough, man, and I hate to say that because being a Yankee fan, I don't like the Dodgers. But
you're a Yankees fan?
Yeah, I like my as a kid, man. My mom was a Yankees fan and my dad was a Cubs fan. So I was a mama's boy, so I had to go with my mom's team, so Yankees. So
okay, yeah, I've never been a big baseball guy. I used to joke with my dad because he put on baseball during the playoffs, and he's a Dodgers fan. And this was like when they had Kershaw and everybody else. And at this point, it had been years. Like he's watching baseball, and the Dodgers would just lose. And I'm like, man, turn this off. You know the result. Dodgers are going to lose.
That's why I grew up not liking the Bears and the Cubs, because as a kid, my dad wanted to watch it, and they were always losing. I'm like, you forced me to watch this week after week.
Turn these LA Dodgers off. I'm like, turn the Lakers on, even though it was 2014 and they were abysmal. But still, I want to watch the Lakers. I want to watch Kobe. I don't want to watch baseball. I watch baseball now. I don't watch it as much as the other sports, but I watch it. I really watch the Reds. I do watch the Dodgers because, I mean, Shohei Ohtani's there. I mean, I got to watch the best baseball player of this generation, right? As he's been labeled by a couple people. Not a couple.
It's funny when we say generation. So I always like to put years on generation because I think some of these things, these lines get blurred sometimes, right? I think Ohtani's the best player in baseball right now. Absolutely. Why? Because he can shut you out 1-0. Then he can turn around and go 3 for 4, 2 home runs, and 2 stolen bases.
Yeah, that's just baseball, though, correct? Like, some nights you just can't. Some nights you just
we're
can't.
Talking about one player, though, on both.
No, I know, but
pitching and hitting. Nobody else has done that.
Like, okay, it's probably not my generation anymore, but like my generation, people would be like Mike Trout, even though Trout could never stay healthy. Everyone was like, Trout's the best player of this generation, which is like, I'm just going to throw out a 10-year span. I'll say like 2008 to 2018. I'll just say that. I don't know when Trout got in the league. I'm not a baseball, savant, so I don't really know exactly, but that's the time frame that I'll give. From about a 10-year period, I remember people being like, that Mike Trout's the best player. And so that's just kind of what I remember.
But, that's the thing about baseball, right? A lot of people don't watch it in April through July, right? It's the dog days of summer. Then when the playoffs hit, it tightens up. But baseball's done a whole lot over the last few years to try to make the game more likable to the novice fan. They've got a pitch clock on right now. You can't throw over to first base 17 times in a row anymore. Umpires can't give a wider strike zone to this pitcher compared to this pitcher. The Greg Maddux theory, right? People say now if Greg Maddux was in today's baseball, he wouldn't be the player he was because he was always given, they say 2 to 4 inches on each corner. You can't give that anymore. Why? Because the plate is there and they've got the automatic timer on it now, right? So you don't have that anymore. So I would be curious to see how those pitchers would be in today's game. It would be interesting. We'll never know. But it would be interesting to find out if we could.
I want to move over to the NBA. This is kind of where we'll end things off. We'll go past 12 o'clock. No worries. Before we do that, though, I do want to remind you guys, if you're watching on Instagram or X, scan that QR code. It'll take you to YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel where you'll see clips from this live stream and other recorded content. We may go live tomorrow to cover the Sunday slate.
Look like you just fell into the kennel again.
Yeah, I don't know why all of a sudden you guys can hear the dogs, but I got to get that fixed because that's annoying. Definitely, I got to get that fixed. But make sure to scan the QR code if you need some insurance help. Matt Gaddis is the guy you got to go to. His info is down there on the ticker. And then his email is also in the description on YouTube. Obviously, there's no description on X or Instagram. So if you're watching on YouTube, in the description, you can find his email. You can find all that other information as well. Big thank you to Matt Gaddis for sponsoring the Game Time Podcast. Now we can talk about NBA. Wanted to get that out there real quick for the viewers.
I know where you want to go.
Yeah, Game Time Live as well. I wanted to get an update on that. We may go live tomorrow. To talk about today's NFL slate. Obviously, I'll talk to Darrell about that tomorrow. I need to talk to him when we go live tomorrow and then we talked about it after Friday. We may make Friday a regular, depending on what I've got going on. I'm not a regular every week. I've got broadcasts on Friday. I still broadcast for the IU East Red Wolves. We usually have games on Fridays, but those Fridays that are available, I think me and Darrell are very open to the possibility of going live again on Friday. And honestly, that time slot is probably a better time slot than what we're in right now, 11 to 12. On Sunday, we have talked about maybe adjusting it once the NFL season calms down on Sundays, but I really did like that Friday slot from I think it was like 2 to 4 or something like that.
I think 2:30 to 3:30 or 4, something like that. Yeah.
Really worked in our favor. We had a lot of people join us and jump into the conversation on Friday. So, and even then, once NFL season ends, expect the time on Sunday to change to maybe about 1 to 3 o'clock or something like that. Darrell, your thoughts on Friday and the future of the live stream part of our show?
One of the things we talked about, in the beginning, right? We want to, placate to the audience, right? If it works for the audience for us to be on later on a Friday, 2:30, 3 o'clock, hey, great. A little bit pushback on a Sunday, folks getting out of church, that type of thing. By all means, we've got some flexibility in our schedules a little bit. We want to hear from the viewers. What do you think would be a great time to watch a Game Time podcast live or recording? Well, recording, you can watch those any times, but from a live perspective, probably that later Friday, possibly a little bit later on the Sunday, and then maybe the recap on a Monday evening, to finish up the Sunday games.
Yeah, and next week, the podcast will have a time change. We will not be going live at 11 next week. We are going to try a different time for the next Sunday. That'll be 12 to 1 o'clock or 12 to 1:30. So that'll be the difference there. 12 to 1 o'clock for us on Sunday. That's just a reminder. There'll be reminders throughout the week with our recorded content, but 12 to 1 o'clock, different time for Game Time Live next Sunday. Let's move over to NBA, Darrell. I want to talk about Adam Silver for a second. This is where I want to go first because I'm a little annoyed with Adam Silver because, he's talking about expansion, but not expansion to Seattle, not expansion to Vegas. He's talking about a whole nother league in Europe. And then he calls the league a highlight league, which isn't wrong, but you're openly hurting the product when you say, our games are, somebody asked him about all the different ways you have to watch the NBA this year, Amazon, Peacock, NBC, ESPN. And he said, we have highlights on YouTube. Really? We have highlights on YouTube? Yeah, obviously. Yeah. But are you telling people that don't have the money for all these streams? Well, the games will be on YouTube. Really? That's your best thing? That's your best bet? And that's my other problem too. They have NBA League Pass, and on League Pass, you can't watch your hometown team, and you can't watch the primetime games. What's the point of having a League Pass? It's like
that's not a league pass. That's a money pass, so you can add more subscription dollars for the NBA. That's what that is.
It's like the NFL having Sunday Ticket, but you can't watch your hometown team, and you can't watch, you can't watch certain games because it's on NBC or Fox, and it's going to be nationally televised or something.
Well, they're looking for another, revenue streams. They're looking for more revenue stream because obviously salaries are going up. You talking about the television rights are going up. They're looking for more opportunity for money. It's a money thing. It's not about, we would love to be in Europe. No, if they could have everything they wanted in the United States or in this region, that's where it would be. Yeah, they wouldn't, but they see the European players are getting better and better and better, and they want some of that money too. That's what it is. They want some of that money.
I hate to break it to them, but the NBA culture, like the fans, the chants, it doesn't compare over in Europe. Those fans are
it's not organic. It's not. It's because it's so contrived now.
Yeah,
it's they've got when you're at the games, they've got the big billboard telling you when to boo, telling you when to cheer, telling you when to sit, louder songs, music, blah blah, all that. Because people are on their phone. If you go to these games, people are on their phones. They're going live. They're going to Instagram. They're talking about.
And it doesn't help in some of these teams. You've outpriced your market. You've outpriced your actual fans, and you got these people that don't watch the NBA. They're casuals, and they're like, all right, well, we've got all this money. Let's take the kids out to a basketball game, and they don't know who they know who LeBron is. They know who KD is, but they don't know who. I'll tell you right now, I bet a lot of casuals probably would not call Cade Cunningham an all-star, or they wouldn't think Paulo Banchero.
You know why? Because he's not out front for everybody to see, right? Yeah. He's not out front.
And that's on the league. That's on the league as well. But it's also like It's on the league on both standards because you're outpricing the audience that would know these players, and you're also bringing in these casuals that actually have the money to go.
Yeah, and ticket prices have gone up. This past season, my seat when I was about, I think, 4%, something like that. Nothing crazy, but prices are continuing to go up. Salaries are going up, and what's happening is people are blaming the players. Hey, they're workers. They're the workers. Yeah. The ownership groups are the ones who are making the big push and making the real money, right? So, but the thing is, when you open up Google and you can see what this player has made through his career, all of his career and everything, but you can't do the same thing with an owner. You can't do the same thing with a general manager. Of course, the players are going to get the pushback. Why? Because we know what they're making. But the challenge is we know what they're making. What do you think the owner is making? And if he can have or she can have a salary, a team salary of $250 million in a year, how much is he making or she making? But people don't talk about that because it's not public, right? And that, to me, that's a challenge that the NBA, not just the NBA has, but our professional sports have. That's why baseball is getting so much pushback right now from the players. Matter of fact, you mentioned to me the other day, hey, should they go salary cap? Because these guys are making a lot of money.
But the players don't want it.
Well, right. They're not going to have it, right? But also they play 81 home games. There's a lot. You're talking about 81 games versus NBA at 41, half.
Yeah.
Football, 8 games, 8 home games. So for me, I think until people understand the whole dynamic of how this infrastructure is from a pay perspective and salary cap, we're just bumping our gums right now because the ownerships, they're going to do what they want to do, and they're going to take themselves overseas. They're going to create an environment in which, it's us against them, meaning the management and the ownership against them, the players.
I just think it was a bad week for Adam Silver. Just a lot of idiotic things to be saying. Why there's no reason to make it.
It wasn't more idiotic than the WNBA commissioner, though.
Yeah. There's just bad week for both basketball commissioners because there's no reason to make a Euro League. Those fans are crazy about the Euro teams that they already have. There's an interest, and I see the interest, right? Because Kevin Durant, he has some ownership in PSG, which is, that brand is just as big as like the Lakers, the Cowboys, stuff like that. There's some big name soccer clubs that would be interested in joining an NBA Euro League, and they don't even have a basketball team right now. So I get the appeal, but it's like there already is a big market Euro League that has generated players like Luka and other talent, across the globe at this point. So there's no need for that. When you've got a fan base in Seattle that got their team stolen from them years ago, and they still don't have a team. And I think that's the problem with the NBA and the NFL right now. The NHL has expanded. Really, the MLB should expand too. You've got the 3 major leagues. Every year they're talking about, we want to expand. We want to expand, but there's no way. There's nothing moving the ball to get expansion going. The NFL's talked about expanding for the longest, and then you've got, I think, the NBA and the NFL both talking about a team in Mexico City. What are we doing? They're trying. They've got their money at home. All right, we got our pocket here. Let's go get some more, like you said, in Mexico, in Europe, wherever we can go. Which is why they got these constructed games and the NFL games in England, in London. Yeah.
And one of the things I don't like about this, it's so phony. When you look at an NFL game overseas, all the fake crowd noise, the fake whistling, then you got fans planted in the stands who aren't real NFL football fans. It's so contrived, and it's just a money driver. If the NFL was so smart and so great, why did NFL Europe fail?
Yeah,
it was out there. You had them over there.
Yeah,
it failed.
And Silver,
the people weren't interested in it. That's not their football. Their football is a round ball that's kicked on the ground.
Silver said something like, "Oh, well, maybe we can do a playoffs where it's the NBA Euro teams or Europe teams and NBA teams." I'm like, you're going to give really both teams just major jet lag. Could you imagine the Lakers going from all the way from LA to Paris going, or the UK. Like, it makes
They'd have
no
to stay over there at least
sense.
a week. It'd have to be something like a 3 games over there
Now,
and then come back.
the best idea I heard, and I wouldn't be opposed to it, is if they did it for the in-season tournament. Wouldn't be opposed to it at that point. But he was talking about the real NBA playoffs. Absolutely not. You do it for the in-season tournament, a part of me would be somewhat interested if you did. That's a great way to spice up the in-season tournament. I don't know how you make the regular season work, but sure. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it either. That wouldn't be a bad idea. I wouldn't mind it.
Well, it would bring money, right? And that's the whole key. Would it bring money? And if the answer is yeah, they'll give it a shot. Why wouldn't they? Right? It's like we said, salaries are going up, coaches' salaries everything's going up. So they've got to. What they're saying is we got to find a way to keep our percentage of our profitability where we want it to be. That's what they're trying to do. That's what they're looking for. They're not going broke. They don't want to cross that line of demarcation of losing money.
Yeah,
that's what they don't want. Yeah, but for me, I would rather them stay in the U.S. To your point, Seattle deserves a franchise, and to double down on that, the NBA said Seattle, if you don't let them out of that lease, you'll never get a team again. Listen, that was robbery. They held them at gunpoint and said, no, you better let them leave or else. And the city of Seattle said, okay.
Seattle and Vegas, those are the two that need a franchise.
Well, it's been talked about Vegas, so much anyway. I mean, it's you've got football there, right? You got baseball there. It's coming, right?
The WNBA team, they're about to get another.
But before that, though, there needs to be a team in the Great Northwest in Seattle. That's a storied franchise. Great players, great coaches, great history. And the good thing about the NBA deal was everything from Seattle stayed in Seattle. Nothing came over to Oklahoma, right? Which I think which is good. Yeah, but that's disappointing. I'll say first things first, man. You got to get a franchise in Seattle. Yeah, you got to go to Seattle first, and then if you want to go elsewhere, so be it. But Seattle first.
I'd say Seattle, Vegas. I've heard like Virginia's another option. I heard Louisville, Kentucky is being looked at by both.
Virginia Squires back in the day, ABA. Obviously Kentucky Colonels in Louisville, close to Indianapolis. They talk about that would mess the market up. People in Louisville aren't coming up to Indianapolis to watch. They're not Pacer fans.
Like the UFL, they're moving one of their teams to Louisville, Kentucky. So I'm sure the NFL is going to keep an eye on that and see.
Well, Birmingham stayed. The franchise in Birmingham stayed, but I think two franchise. One was gone. Yeah, one they dropped and one they moved.
All the ones from the USFL, they're moving them apparently. That is what I heard. Other than Birmingham, I think. They'd be crazy to move Birmingham because that team is, I think, two-time champions. So
and that area too, right? That's the other thing, right? That area is a melting pot of football, right? So you want to stay in that football lore. What about if you got a team, the Kansas City Kings, back in the day, Kansas City?
That's not a bad thing for the NBA.
Great history in the NBA. Tiny Archibald was there. You had some really good players. Mike Woodson, ex-coach for the Indiana Hoosiers, was there. Sam Lacey, big time center back in the day. So maybe, just maybe, Kansas City has an opportunity, or St. Louis area for a basketball team, right? That's a possibility. Granted, New Orleans has a team now. When they were the Jazz way back, they have a team now. Utah has their team. Arizona has their team. California has multiple teams. You got Sacramento, you got the Clippers, you got the Lakers, you got the Warriors, right? So the Great Northwest has Portland, but Seattle's, it's for me, Seattle, Kansas City, and like you said, St. Louis-ish, and Vegas. Those are the areas.
St. Louis is another good one. That's for the NFL too, to be honest. Yeah. I hope they do expansion because I think there's a lot of players in the NFL and the NBA that aren't in the league. Like there needs to be more spots. Like you've seen the NHL expand. You've seen the WNBA continue to expand. They're just adding more and more teams. MLB hasn't expanded in a couple of years. So It's crazy that the big three leagues have not expanded at all in the last couple of years. I think the last time they did expand, it had to be forever ago. Because the NFL they've just been moving franchises to different cities.
Well, was it? It couldn't have been. See,
I think the last time the NBA did it was when the Raptors,
when the Texans came.
That's the NFL. Texans and Jags. Yeah.
Yeah. Texans. Actually, it was the Jaguars and Carolina together, but that was in the early 90s.
Texans were by themselves then, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Then Baltimore, Cleveland moved to Baltimore, and then Cleveland didn't have a franchise. So I think Cleveland and the Texans.
Explain that to me. I've never understood this. So Cleveland left for Baltimore, and they became the Ravens, and then the Browns came back as an expansion.
No, they came back. Same thing with Seattle. Oh, and with Seattle, nothing went to Baltimore. None of their records, the Cleveland Browns records, did not go to Baltimore.
Yeah,
everything stayed in Cleveland.
Okay.
Granted, the franchise moved there with Art Modell, but all the records stayed in Cleveland. So in other words, you got a Baltimore Raven history of now 28 years or something like that, 29 years. But all those records from under the Baltimore umbrella.
So the team went to Baltimore, and then Cleveland just
they didn't have a franchise, but their records and their name stayed.
So when they come back, when did Cleveland come back?
Was it 2000 when Cleveland came back?
So they came back as an expansion then, basically, for the most part, kind of.
Yeah, they were like an expansion team, but they were still the Browns.
No, yeah, I get it. Yeah, they're still the Browns. Yeah, it's like the Hornets, basically, like the New Orleans Hornets.
Yeah, there was Charlotte Hornets, the New Orleans Hornets.
Jesus,
Cleveland, they everything stayed in Cleveland, just like with the Seattle SuperSonics. Everything stays in no record and no this. And it's funny, right? Because the Seattle ex-SuperSonics, they don't associate themselves with Oklahoma City.
Yeah, I know that one. Yeah, that Cleveland Browns Baltimore Ravens one was the one that always got me. Like, I never understood how that worked.
Well, because it happened in '84 first when Baltimore, the Baltimore Colts came to Indy. They left Baltimore with nothing. But the difference is everything came to Indy. All the records, all the history, all the nostalgia came to Indy. Yeah. And then when Cleveland, when Art Modell was crying broke, and Baltimore, backed up the Brinks truck for him, he says, "Yeah, I'll go, but I'll leave the Cleveland name here."
Yeah.
Right? Because they were talking about them being the Baltimore Browns.
Yes.
No, they were staying. That was staying in Cleveland. So that's that dynamic.
That was my only take on the NBA. There wasn't. Preseason's going on. Somebody was like, "Oh, you see the Lakers lost to Phoenix?" I was like, "And DeAndre Ayton's."
I don't think they said it in their voice, but listen, you are on for this show talking. You've talked about the Lakers, and good, bad, or indifferent. When my teams get their A's kicked, we got to talk about it. Listen, it's way too early to call anything, but there are already memes going on with LeBron cutting DeAndre Ayton after that egg he laid.
Somebody said if Ayton plays like that in the preseason, I'm going to leak his social security number and address. I was like, oh.
Well, here it comes. He was 0 for 2 for 2 points and 8 rebounds. And the tough part for me is this.
I'm not worried.
I don't know if it's in between the ears now with Ayton. Because from a physical perspective, this dude is one of the most talented big men in the league.
Yeah.
And yes, this is way too early to call your shot. But it's the carryover from when they wet the bed against the Milwaukee Bucks. They were up 2-0. And ever since that game 3 of the finals, now 4 years ago now? That long? 4 years ago?
Yeah.
He's been on a steady decline, and nothing good has come from his name. Think about last year. Hey, I'm snowed in. You never heard of a player being snowed in. Ever.
Hey, I'm snowed in.
But he was snowed in. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I like to do. I think everything says to me is between his ears. He's a good guy. I think he lost a lot of his confidence. I would figure coming to LA, not being the main wheel. You got Bron there. You got Luka there. You got Austin Reeves there. You got the great Bronny James Jr. there. I mean, you could sit back and just be a double-double guy and be okay. 12 and 10 every night, and play good defense.
I think Ayton will be fine. I'm not overreacting to a preseason loss where we got blown out.
What I'm saying is his steady decline, right? I expect him to play better in LA because he's the fourth option in LA. Maybe the fifth option.
I wouldn't necessarily say not better, but I don't know how to explain it, right? Because I think he's going to play good. I don't expect him to be. I think there's an expectation from different Laker fans of what they're expecting from him, and I'm not expecting it. I'm expecting him to be a lob threat.
What are you expecting out of him from a nightly basis? What is a stat line that's acceptable for Isaiah?
I'm not expecting him to have 15 points when we've got Braun and Luka on the floor. Give me a stat line. Like, if I'm just being like, I'd probably say like 8, 10, and like 8 points and 10 rebounds. I'm not expecting him to score. I don't want him to score. I don't need him to score.
You do need him to score because he's got a nice 15-foot game.
No, I know. I'm just saying, catch a couple lobs, hit your shots when you need to, but I'm not looking at him as like a big three. If anything, I count on Ayton.
Yeah,
I look at AR more as a third option than Ayton.
We're not saying that. No,
Ayton's not my third option. It's AR. As much as me and you have criticized AR offensively, AR is a very gifted player.
He's a very capable offensive player. He's just not capable on the defensive end. Yeah. So let me give you Ayton stats. Just give you some peaks, right? So in Phoenix, his career was 18-11 in Phoenix, 4 years. Portland, those 2 years, 15-11. Mm-hmm. So I think 12-10 is a fair ask for a guy. And also he's a 57% shooter from the field, and he's going to block a couple of shots. That's what you want out of him. You want 12, 10, and a block and a half a game and good defense, right? But to your point, he may not have to be the scorer that he needed to be in other areas. But man, you got to be dependent on, because you got two very weak defenders on the perimeter, and you got an aging LeBron who will be 41 years old during the season, and we all seen his decline. We can say, the chase down block. Hey, those are great. You get one of those a game, but you're playing 30 minutes a game.
Yeah, he's obviously
so he needs to be the anchor. That's why when we talked about this, that's why I said the best thing for them could have been Miles Turner for me. Because of that. He's going to stress the floor and he's going to play hellified defense, right? That's, again, they didn't make it happen, but that's where I see Ayton now. I see a 12-10 guy, but he's going to make his money on the defensive end, man.
Yeah.
Yep. So they are weak on the defensive end. Weak.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be an interesting year. Well, you will see what happens on the. I mean, for them, it's going to be, it's going to be a matter of you got to show a lot of effort on the defense end. That's all I can really say right now. You got to show a lot of effort. And
what I know, if he doesn't, the memes are coming. LeBron going to be sitting next to him on the bench.
Laker fans are going to be. He may get the Russell Westbrook treatment. If he
luckily for him, he's not going to be shooting threes, right? So he's not a three shooter. He's got a nice game around 15 feet, right around the free throw line on each side of the lane. He's got a nice game there.
I do like this.
The ball on the right block though.
I do like this roster. I'm glad Jackson Hayes is coming off the bench. We talked about Hayes and Redick last year.
I'm gonna be interested to see how he works out this year. I'm gonna be watching real close. I see what his coach did to him last year and put him out there. So you re-sign him for a 1 year deal. 1 year deal.
Somebody. They clearly are good if they brought him back, because I didn't think there was a chance he was coming back.
1 year deal. I mean, you got Ayton. You had to do something.
Yeah.
You wasn't getting anybody else.
You got Ayton when you didn't think you were going to have. You got Ayton for free when you didn't think when you thought you were going to have to trade for him.
And remember, this is his last year of his deal as well.
Yeah.
So there's something to be had, and maybe Lakers got something brewing for a big man going around trade deadline.
Yeah, AR. Trade AR. Trade.
You better.
I wouldn't mind Marcus Smart at the 2, and he's a better defender offensively. He'll shoot the 3 and knock it down here and there. I wouldn't mind it if we're trading AR for Kessler or whoever. If we got it, but that we'll see what happens. My main talking point for the NBA was the Adam Silver thing because we didn't talk about it on Friday and I forgot about it. So I was like, I'm going to bring it up today. And that was my last tidbit on NBA. Before we get out of here, Darrell, do you have any final thoughts?
No, man, it's going to be an interesting Sunday schedule for the NFL today. We're firing up, the NBA stuff. We've got something I want to. We need sometime today. We'll talk about what we're going to do on this surprise we've got, and we'll maybe do something live, like a 10-minute live on that, and kind of share that a little bit, maybe today or tomorrow. Okay,
yeah, that works, folks. Remember, next week the podcast will go live at 12 o'clock, 12 to 1 o'clock. Game Time Live will be on the air. That's Instagram, X, and YouTube. In a couple weeks, we are going to switch X to Facebook because we both have a lot more family on Facebook, so we want to give Facebook a shot as well. So YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram will be our lineup, but for now, we'll stay on X. X is the one that is lacking a little bit when it comes to viewers, so we're gonna try a different platform there. I think that's it. Make sure you guys do show Matt Gaddis some love. If you need some insurance help, make sure you give Matt Gaddis a call. His number is down there below. If you're watching on Instagram or X, scan the QR code in the top right corner. That will take you to YouTube and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We've got clips up there. We're going to have segments from the live stream coming out here in a couple of days as well. And then we may be live tomorrow to recap the NFL. I'm going to talk to Darrell about that once we get out of here. But folks, that is going to do it. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be back for more right here on the Game Time Podcast.